Well, hello there internet, I'm CSD from the Guild of Awesome, and I am back from RTX London 2018. It is literally the day after the event. I've just got back home, so let's just do a recap of the event and I'll explain everything that went on at RTX London 2018. Okay, so this is the map they've given us. It looks pretty much nothing like this. So let's just start off with this room over here. That is, you know, can't see my cursor, it is that room over here. So this room is just for registrations, like it says there, but you know, if you can read the writing, good for you. It's very blurry because I'm very zoomed in. So that hall there is for registration, that's where you get your badges, and it's also the exhibit hall queuing. So that hall queuing is really only necessary before the event opens at 9 AM, because after that all of the doors are open and you can go straight into the exhibit hall. So now we're going to move on to the exhibit hall. The exhibit hall was massive as compared to last year. It's probably about a third of the size bigger. It looks nothing like it does on the map, of course, but I'll just go through and explain all the different events that were there. So I'd like to start off saying that there was loads of stuff to do here from the exhibitors themselves. When they had brought games for people to play, they brought not just one or two consoles, they brought actually a load. Xbox was there, they had a whole section with a bunch of consoles to play. There was the Lara Croft demo, there was a Rage 2 demo, there was a Terratech entire booth, well not a booth, it was kind of like a little section that had like maybe 10-15 consoles for people to play on. There was basically a ton of variety when it comes to the games, and there was actually loads of spaces for people to play games. So I'm just going to draw on what the room actually looked like. So we had little columns like that, we'll have a little square here, and we'll have a rectangle there. We'll have another square there, and we'll have a square there. That's close enough, the best I can do. So there are actually rows and rows of stores here. They're selling loads of video game merch, selling loads of sweets, loads of food, loads of sweets and candy from other countries, which I thought was really cool. And actually I should have mentioned out there's actually some stores over there as well, which I forgot to mention. Now there were way more stores than what my crappy drawings look like, but like I said, there was a lot of variety. Anything from food, to shirts, to games, to drawing, to video game weapons. And because of that, you could spend a lot of time just walking around, just looking at all these stores. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to draw a square there then. And actually make that a little bit bigger. The best I can do. Okay. I'm going to draw an end there for Nintendo. Even though there was a PS4 section there, but fuck it, you know, it was mainly Nintendo. Over in this section was a platform that had both Nintendo Switch consoles and PlayStation 4s. And it had loads of games on the Nintendo Switches. And on the PlayStation 4s it was BlazBlue or BlazBlue, however you want to fucking call it. Basically showing off the Ruby characters on them and just for people to play and have fun. Over here on this little rectangle there is it was actually a double-decker bus that had been painted with a Lara Croft. All of the bus was covered in this like Lara Croft decal. It looked really cool, and on this bus was actually the new Lara Croft demo. So I played this myself. It's one of the latest Lara Croft games. They are all good. I had actually an issue with the dialogue. I thought the dialogue in this little demo was really cheesy and horrible. It's like literally a point where she does this thing and she's like, "What have I done?" It's like, oh god, it's just so cheesy. I just stepped off the bus. There was a video game store, not only for you to buy the new Tomb Raider game, but to buy other video games as well. And then we go over here to the right. Actually, I should draw another section there. I've done terrible with this little drawing. So over here was the Xbox. We'll just draw an X there. Okay, so in the Xbox Center, they were mainly showing off the Forza Horizon 4, which was really cool. I haven't played the other Forza Horizon games, but in this one, what I think sets it apart from other racing games is that there's loads of shit going on when you're racing. There's like cows coming onto the fucking racetrack, there's all these bikes going overhead. It's like, it feels like the entire world is racing. Like, you'll go past a river and there's speedboats racing in the river, you go past a dirt track and there's like fucking dirt bikes racing each other. It seems like everyone in the world is just racing each other. It feels really cool. They also had a PUBG section where they had like a squad match going the entire event. And on the other side they had a few games as well. They had Humans Fall Flat. They had a game called Tunic, which I actually played. Now, my issue with Tunic is that there was no tutorial, so you had to learn everything just by doing, and it was kind of awkward. In fact, there was literally a point where you find a tutorial, but the entire game is in a different language, and I think it's a made-up language, or maybe some sort of Norse or something like that. So you get this like this little page that's like a tutorial. I can tell it looks like a tutorial because it's got a picture of a controller on there, but all the writing on it's in a different language, so you just can't freaking read it. And they had another game there which I don't remember, and I didn't get a chance to play. It was one of these pixel games. It looks kind of like one section of it is base building, and then the other section is sort of like a hack and slash, but I can't say more because I didn't actually play it myself. So now we're going to go over here, and this is the food court, so I'm going to draw a B. That is not a B, and a C. So on one side they had a bar, and just like last year, like I mentioned in the previous vlog, the bar only had like 5 seats outside of it, but the bar and cafe were combined in like a square, so you could get your beer and then you can get food at the other side, and there's literally all this seating area at this side for people to sit down and eat the food. There's actually plenty of space, so that was really good. So these two lines over here are just a few more stores. Fucking hell, I really drew off on that one. Yeah, so over here are a few more stores, and in this little section, this was the Rage 2 demo. That's an R, in case you can't tell, and that is a 2 built into the wall. So I played the Rage 2 demo, and I actually thought it was really, really fun. So the actual gunplay had some really nice feedback to it. It felt really powerful as you were shooting these like bad guys. You got like really good feedback from it. You had these like superpowers as well, like you would punch the floor, and if you do it close to enemies, they would just turn into like a blood mist. It was so fucking cool. The only downside I can say is that it feels weird because the enemies are all coated in armor, and as you shoot them, the armor literally breaks and flies off them, and that looks good. The issue with that is, like, at one point you get a shotgun, so I would run up to people, shoot them like point blank in the fucking face. They'll go ragdoll, fly to the other side of the room, get up, and the helmet will fall off, and they'll be completely fine. And it's like, no, I don't think that should be the case. Maybe there should be like a meter, like if your shot did like just armor damage to them and no actual damage, it may like have like a red X over the crosshair, no, like a blue X over the crosshair, and if you did physical damage, put a red X over the crosshair or something like that. Would have made that a little bit easier. But overall, it did make me excited to play Rage 2 because I have never actually played Rage 1. I do own the game, I've just never got around to playing it. Everyone said it was kind of mediocre. But if Rage 2 is anything like the demo, which, I mean, I've played demos before and they turned out to be nothing like the main game, but you know, it would be fun if it was like the demo. It would be a really good shooter. So in this big section here, I'm just going to draw some rows. This was a TerraTech demo booth. So they had loads of different PC consoles set up, and TerraTech was actually a really interesting looking game. Basically, you would start off the game as like kind of like Lego. You would build a little vehicle. You put some wheels on it, you put like a drill and a gun, and then you'll go off and find other robots, you would kill them, and you would take their parts. You would literally blow an enemy to bits and then take those bits and add them to yourself. And that was really cool. It made it feel like you were progressing as you killed enemies. It's not just gaining XP, you're literally gaining physical pieces and growing in size, getting more weapons, getting more wheels, and it looks really good. I actually want to play that now. In the demo, they had like a trailer, you can actually play this, but where you can get in air vehicles as well, and that would be so damn cool. I feel like I'm saying cool a lot in this video, I need to stop that. So that was the exhibitors themselves. Let's go over here to this section here. So the first booth, they were selling like loot crates again, but I didn't get one. I did see that they had loads of different types of loot crates for different people that you watch. Like they had an achievement hunter loot crate, a roof thief loot crate, stuff like that. Again, I didn't get one. They seemed really damn expensive, like I don't know, 40 to 60 quid, something like that. And that's I didn't see what you get in them. Maybe it was worth it, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I didn't get one. Over here they had a booth where they had loads of PCs set up so you can play Bendy and the Ink Machine, which is a game I found out was being published by Rooster Teeth. I didn't know that. It's a game I've seen online before. I've seen other people play it, but I haven't played it myself. They also had a new, I think it's like a board game or a card game, which is the Achievement Hunter Heist. That looked really cool, but I didn't get a chance to play it, and I only had a quick look at it. I need to check that out more. Over here is the Platinum Lounge. So I actually spoke to somebody about the Platinum Lounge at RTX 2017, RTX London 2017, I should say. So it was actually just it's like a square. That last year, it was just a square with two or three seats inside it. So that was completely pointless because you're in like a square. You're in like a cloth cube. Like that's a bit like I said last time. If you stretched out your arms, you'd be touching both walls. It was completely pointless. This year, actually, it looked really damn cool. So it was kind of like a seating area with sofas and chairs where you could see perfectly to the center stage. You would be able to see directly down the middle of the chairs that people had, and you just get a clear view of the centre stage, and you'll be able to sit nice and relaxing in comfort. There's a little, it looked like a store at the end of it, but I couldn't really see. Maybe it was like a bar or something like that, but no, I don't know. I didn't really see what was going on there. So the Rooster Teeth store was actually much bigger than this. It went up to the entire wall, and like that. It was massive, and as soon as the exhibit hall opened, that was just full of people. So I'm going to go to the centre stage. We had actually less seats than the year before, but they were split up in two sections, and we had loads of standing area. So let's just go to a different. So after let's not use red. Let's use blue. So they had loads of standing area. So we'll go like that, and even into the autograph section. And if you're at the cafe, you could see the screen. In fact, if you were anywhere in the exhibit hall, you could see the screen. There was a camera booth like last year, but last year they set up like an entire wall to kind of separate it from the rest of the convention. This time it was just like a seated area, so you could see over the top of the people working on the main stage. Just draw it like that. So no matter where you were in the convention, you could see the centre stage. Like I said, less seating, which is a bit weird, but there was plenty of standing room. They only had standing room on the right side of the stage, or at least the right side of this map. I feel like if they had moved the RT store around a little bit, then they could have easily made some standing room on the other side of the stage. As it was, you're only allowed to stand on one side of the stage. So these drawings I've done are huge. Like to the actual size on the map, I'll just say that entire section was empty, and all this stuff was like more compacted over here. So that entire area as well, you could just stand and watch the centre stage, or you could just like sit down and chill. And in this little corner there was the autograph section. It was much smaller. It was only like that little. I think there was only like 3 booths as well. That was actually kind of small. Like I said, I didn't get an autograph this year, so you know, didn't really get to experience that part. Now it says that there's 3 panel rooms, but I only saw 2. It could have been 3, but from what I saw, panel room 3 was just a queuing area for the other 2 panel rooms. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I missed something, but I did physically walk through those rooms, so I don't really know what happened to that panel room or the panels there. Okay, so now I'm going to get on to the main problem with the fucking convention. So they had the exact same problem as last year, and that is the queuing for panels. They just completely fucked it up. Last year I mentioned that there was that one room where nobody was told where they could queue, and they were told that you couldn't queue here until they say so, and that caused a lot of issues. They've done the exact same thing this year, only they're not using the same room as last year. It's like they thought, hey, we had a bunch of issues with queues last year, especially at that one room. Let's just not use that room this year. Maybe the room was the issue and not our queue management. Now the main 2 issues were that the rules say you can only queue an hour before a panel starts, and that there's no indication as to where a queue starts. And this got out of hand and outright ridiculous. We're told to meet the Guardians at 2 entrances of the panel rooms, like queue at entrance 1 for panel room 1 and queue at entrance 2 for panel room 2. Now people started queuing 2 hours before a panel started, and because the rules say you can only queue an hour beforehand, nobody was ever told where a queue began because this place was just filled with people. The Guardians couldn't have said, hey, the queue starts here now, because everyone would just push in and it would just be a circle of people and there wouldn't actually be a start to the queue. I mean, this place was so packed, it was people literally shoulder to shoulder, wall to wall, just packed all along here, all along this section, all along there, and because they're actually told, right, you're not allowed to stand in one spot because you're an obstruction, you've got to walk around, and the Guardians told us you can walk around in circles, and I don't just mean walking around in circles on the spot, but they're literally walking around these foods, like the sitting area for the food court, so they would walk all around there and just do it for ages, literally for an hour. They would walk around in a circle for an hour, and it was so packed, like I said, wall to wall, shoulder to shoulder, you just couldn't get by them. If you wanted to get past, you just have to wait. People inside the food courts were trapped. So when it came time for the queue to actually start, the Guardians had to split people into 2 lines. Basically what they did is they told people to stop walking around in circles. So literally from this section over here, from that wall all the way to here, was filled with people. So they said, alright, what they're going to do from that point in the middle of that column to the middle of this entrance over here, what they're going to do is separate this into 2 lines, a line on the left, a line on the right. 2 lines would then split up. walk over there, and they would let some people from the line on the right first, and then they would let some people from the line on the left, and then they'd keep doing this, so like more people from the line on the right, and then more people from the line on the left. I also should have mentioned the people that are inside the food court are actually the people who got here the earliest, because they could actually get into the food court. It wasn't surrounded by people. So people who were here the earliest actually got trapped, and most of them, they didn't end up getting into the panel even though they waited the longest. What it ultimately means is that getting into any panel is complete luck. It didn't matter what time you arrived, you could have just shown up at the last minute and got in because you were just at the right spot. And you could have not got in after waiting 2 hours because you were in the wrong spot. It's just overall ridiculous. And even then, once you get into the queuing rooms, you were told that you could be turned away due to capacity. Because at that point, they only started counting people when they were taking seats inside the panel room. Okay, so that's all my issues with the panel themselves. But here is my solution. The lesson they should have learned from last year is that you cannot tell people when to queue. People will wait as long as they want, and they'll get as physically close as they are allowed to be. So instead, have clearly marked areas where people can start to queue. And I also do this for at least 2 panels ahead. My example for this is to have 4 lines start at each of these queuing areas. So by design, imagine that we have a sign here that says if you want to get into room 1 for the first panel, queue here and go up along that side. On this side, we'll say if you want to get into room 2 for the first panel, queue on that side and queue up along there. And we can also have on this side, you can have it sort for if you want to get into the second panel on room 1, queue there and then queue along the corridor. And if you want to get into the second panel for room 2, queue there and then queue up along that way. That way the Guardians only have to worry about people blocking these entrances into the food court, so that's easier to manage than the absolute mess of people just walking in circles. It has to be better than that. And finally, I would still have people being taken into the queuing rooms before heading into the panel rooms, and at this point do a head count so you know how many people are here and how many people are allowed to be let into the panel itself. So I want to be clear, I do not blame the Guardians for this. They did not do any of the queue management, they just got the terrible system and worked with it. Actually, I'd like to thank them, because without them, I'd guarantee somebody would get hurt. So I should actually mention the panel rooms themselves. So from what I experienced, you were let into the room here on panel room 3, and this was actually a huge empty space for when I was there. What they told us to do is that we'll be separated into different lines. There was 4 different lines along there. Just draw 3 because that's all I can fit. And then you would wait in there for your panel to be ready, and then what would happen is you would be led out across that one and into the panel where you are, or if you're in this panel you would be across and you would go into that one. So the panel rooms themselves was the main stage at the bottom here, and then you just had a bunch of chairs all along up here. I'm just going to scribble because I can't be able to click everywhere. So that is what the panel rooms look like. They had a stage at the bottom and a room full of chairs. Now my complaints don't stop there, because the panel rooms themselves were garbage. They were partitioned off with this hard plastic material that made the entire room sound like an echo chamber.
15 seconds away. You already take too long to respond to text messages, so that's not true. So just add it. I'll see you right now. Yeah. I don't know. I think I might take this one. It's £1 million.
Yeah,
I would do this one. Yeah, I do it. I'm a pass. I would do it. Okay.
Sure.
Why would you turn down $1 million for that?
People who were at the back said they had a hard time seeing the panel. Now, to clarify, there is a big projector above the main stage. However, it was not at the centre of the room, it was off to one side, so people couldn't see the stage and they couldn't see the massive screen. To the point where people at the back actually streamed the panel they were in to their phones from YouTube. Okay, I've only got one more thing to bitch about, and it is not about RTX itself. So, one of the events that I watched at the centre stage, they played Sea of Thieves. Now, I haven't played Sea of Thieves because everyone said it's garbage, and the videos that I've seen online confirm that, and the panel itself confirmed this. So it was Bernie, Blaine, Lawrence and Ryan playing Sea of Thieves. So it was a bit where they summoned like a skeleton ship, and the actual fight, like ship to ship, shooting cannonballs at each other, that was really good. But there's a point where they boarded the skeleton ship, and the AI on the skeletons was so terrible. It was almost non-existent. Like, literally, some skeletons just stood there doing nothing, even while they were getting attacked. So the only skeleton that did actual damage to them was the captain, because he had a gun. So he was at the top of these stairs shooting down at them. And then after he fired his first shot, he started running in place, and he was like stuck there. God, like Sea of Thieves, it looks so terrible. It was just not a good example. It was funny though, everyone laughed, so there's that at least. Okay, so I feel like I've bitched about RTX London 2018 quite a lot, and that's because there is a lot to bitch about, but overall, RTX London 2018 was bigger, it was better, but it still had the same problems as last year. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next year. Okay, so that's my coverage of RTX London 2018. Thanks for watching, guys, and stay awesome.